Hi guys, Jurassic Junkie here, and it's Christmas! Welcome to the Friday Night Rant. So yes, Christmas is upon us, and this is the last Friday night until Christmas. So before we crack into the news and all the good stuff, Jesus Christ. Starting off already, the sponsor by drink is mulled wine, which is actually too hot to hold. So this may go down very wrong. Nice, very nice, but Jesus, a bit too hot. So I hope everyone's in the Christmas spirit. And even more so, I hope everyone's actually got all the Christmas stuff done. Luckily enough, I got most of mine done in November. I think I'm done. Everything's been delivered anyway. So all I need to do is just wrap it up tonight and then just make sure everything's there that it should be. If not, I'm going to have to quickly go into town and go through that horrible mess of people. But you're not here to talk about Christmas, you're here to talk about games. So, let's talk about Nintendo. So previous week I talked about saying Nintendo kind of went and did a little dribbly, we've got a new character, not much information. And I did say they tend to actually keep the good information for the Nintendo Directs. And that they've done. Now there's lots of information coming out, but I just want to quickly touch across some bits. So first of all, we've now got confirmation on Yoshi's Island, which we already kind of knew that was coming when first people hacked the actual Wii U and got inside the gubbins and saw it was already there. We've got Kerbal Triple Deluxe, Professor Layton versus Ace Attorney, Dr. Luigi, a NES remix pack with about 15 or so games, and Zelda Hyrule Warriors. And this one in particular is interesting me. So it's actually going to be like a Dynasty Wars style game. And straight away, it surprised me, because the thing I have a problem with Nintendo is obviously the Wii U is very strongly relying on first party games, and fair enough. But the problem is they seem to do the same game repeatedly, or if they don't do it repeatedly, they just get an old one, dust it off, and chuck it out as a high def remake. So for them to actually just completely change up Zelda and go in a different direction, I think's absolutely brilliant for the company. And the thing I find even best is some of the news like Kirby and stuff like that, fair enough, the Nintendo fans are going to enjoy. But the better thing is, this Zelda news, I've actually speak to people that actually play on the PlayStation, play on the PC, play on the Xbox One, and all of them said, that's one game I'm interested in. So already, you're getting other people interested in your console, and I think that's absolutely great. You've also got that Xeno Warriors X game coming out where it's like dinosaurs and robots and all that. And that, again, another game I want to play. You're going to have your Mario Kart very soon. Want to play that. So, going from a platform where I had zero interest in playing, you're starting to bring out games that I'm actually going, I want to play these now. The thing is, I own a Wii U, so it's not a problem. I'll get those titles. Well, to be fair, Joe will get those titles and I'll play them. But the point is, my friends that don't own one are actually thinking, this is a console I might purchase in the future, and I think that's brilliant for Nintendo. So go on, Nintendo, you are surprising me now. You're starting to bring some games out and just keep on getting there, because the thing is, more games you bring out, more units you sell, and then more third-party support might start to creep back again, which will make your console boom, and hopefully we'll start to see a Wii on the hands. Right, just cool down a bit now. On a random side note, I actually went into town this week and tried some mulled cider, which was absolutely lovely, but I managed to offend an old man at the same time. Now, me and Joe stepped outside to actually have a drink out in the cold, so it was nice and Christmassy. And as I started to sup my mulled cider, an old gentleman came up to me and asked me, "What are you drinking there, son?" And I quickly responded, "Sorry, I ain't got no change, mate." So I don't know why. I instantly thought he was a bum or just trying to hustle me for some money, and I just tried to get shot of him straight away. And then he got offended, and Joe was like, "You never even asked for money." And I was just going, "I'm sure I heard the word 10p. So yeah, I offended an old man this week. So the next two things I want to talk about aren't particularly news things. They're just two things that have annoyed me. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is microtransactions. Now, I know as soon as you say the words microtransactions, everyone's like, boo! But I'm not particularly bothered by microtransactions. Now, if I have a game and it's like, buy this, then just evil game. It's just, we don't need to talk about why that's a bad idea. But the point is, there's a lot of games out now that have microtransactions hidden in them to the point where you can't even find them, and I think that's brilliant when there's a game like that. Now, for instance, I'm going to be talking mainly about the Xbox One, and I'm not circling that out in particular. It's because that's the console I'm on at the moment. But take Rise and Power Star Golf. Now, both of these actually have microtransactions, but they are hidden away in the depths of the menu, so you can't even find them, and I think that's brilliant. You don't even know the game has them. But my problem is, the price tag on some of these ludicrous things. Now I'm going to single out Power Star Golf. Now this is a game that I've loved and I will be doing a review on it. But the way it works is you actually earn coins within the games, and more coins you get, you can then buy a random lucky dip pack, and with that you'll get new clubs. So that's the way you level up your character, and I enjoy the way it works. Now I've actually synced a disgusting amount of time into this game and I love it, and I said to my friends, thank God there was no microtransactions in this game, because if they did, I would just buy them all. And we laughed about it for a few days until I actually found out there was in there. It was just very hard to find them. And when I did find them, I thought, you know what, I'm buying some simply because this game cost me about £10 or so, and I've had about 40 hours out of it, so that's well worth the actual money I've paid. And because out of respect for the developers, I enjoy your product, I'm willing to give you a bit more cash as well. So my problem was, there is several different tiers of actual unlocks that you can get, and I went for the ultra super sick pack, or whatever you want to call it. Now I brought this twice, and both times the randomization turned out to be a bit crap. Now that's the luck of the draw, and I enjoy that. And I thought, you know what, I've spunked my coins on 2 of them, I'm just going to buy another 2 through microtransactions, because I don't mind giving them a couple of quid. So to do so, I'm looking around, I need about 140k in coins. Now this can be earned within the game within 2 to 3 hours when you first start out. It gets a bit slow towards the end, but the point is you can easily get this amount of cash. But I thought, right, I'm going to probably drop £2 at most for a 140k pack. But when I got to the microtransaction screen, it was $11.99. It's as much as the game to just buy coins in the game, which is just absolutely nuts. Now I'm not saying every game has this kind of price tag, but the thing is, I don't understand why you make it so expensive. If you drop this $11.99 pack down to around about £2, you'd sell millions more. It's like what I said last week about digital. Bring the prices down, more people buy. Now I know you can't bring microtransactions down in all games. For instance, let's say if Battlefield had microtransactions in it. Now if they was cheap, it means everybody would go out and buy the best guns, and it would make the game unbalanced. So if it's a multiplayer game, yeah, fair enough, you might have to put your microtransactions slightly higher to stop everybody buying it. If somebody wants to spunk 50 quid on a super duper weapon, let the idiots. But when it comes down to things like Power Star Golf, which is a single player offline game, I don't understand, because you won't be cheating anybody online, you're only cheating yourself. So if you're willing to drop coin, make it a reasonable amount to drop. So the thing really that confuses me is, we've got these games now at like $59.99 to buy digitally. We've got some of these microtransactions at $11.99, and this is not me saying, oh, these things are going wrong. This is me saying, who the are buying these for them to justify keeping them at that price? Somebody must be purchasing them, because if no one purchased them, somebody would go, that's a bad idea, let's reduce the price. But they never have reduced these prices. Some rich person out there must be buying a hell of a lot to justify the prices. So end of microtransaction rant. And now I'm going to suck this, because I'm going to go into a category I don't normally go into, and it's bashing the PC users. Now I know already me saying that, 16 downvotes down below. Before I get into it, I'm going to simply state this is my opinion. Now I think PC gaming's great. I've got a PC sat there more than capable for chewing the top end graphics, and I enjoy playing the odd game. I've told you why I'm a console gamer, we're not going into it. But my problem is the Steam machine that's coming out. So a lot of people are happy because they're bringing the PC Master Race into the living room. Before I get into the nuts and bolts about this argument, I just want to talk about the word PC Master Race. So first of all then, we've got the word PC, which simply stands for personal computer. Now that was born back in the day when people didn't have personal computers. Computers consist of office computers, the odd server, and they were so expensive no one could afford them. Then eventually they started to trickle out the cheaper home-end PCs, and there was the coined personal computer. So that name has never changed since then. But the thing is, if you look at a personal computer back then, now you look at the standard of it now, the standard kind of is it needs to have a hard drive, you need to be able to put an operating system on it. But back then, that wasn't the standard of a PC. But my point is now, we have motherboards, hard drives, even swappable hard drives in consoles now. So the point is, a console is now a personal computer. So what a lot of people actually mean when they say the PC Master Race, they're actually referring to the Windows operating system Master Race. Now I know it sounds like I'm going off track, but bear with me. So the thing is, the word PC now, I've got a PC in the corner, it's running Windows. If I fancy, I can chuck Linux on it, or I can chuck iOS on it. But it's still a PC. Now if you go onto Steam, if you look at the tabs at the top, Mac is labelled Mac. Linux is labelled Linux, but yet Windows, even with the Windows logo, is labelled PC. So this is the problem that I've got. You've now got the Steam machine coming, so this is what people are saying, it's not a console, it's a PC for your living room. Now on one hand, people are now using the word PC to describe Windows, but yet this machine's coming, which is a PC, but it's not coming with Windows, it's coming with Linux. So with that, I see three problems. Now I've got no problem with Linux, I think it's a great operating system, but we're actually talking about support here. Now the thing is, when you actually think of the PC master race, the first thing you actually think of is Steam, and yes, Steam is brilliant, it's absolutely great. And I know as much as we like to bash EA, we do have Origin that sits on the actual PC category as well. So PC isn't just Steam, it's good old games, it's Steam, it's Origin. So now if you actually go and purchase one of these Steam machines that runs Linux, that simply means you're only going to be able to play the actual Steam games because Origin doesn't support Linux. So that means instantly if you buy this Steam machine, then you're not going to be able to get access to the new Mirror's Edge, Star Wars Battlefront, Battlefield, Titanfall, and even the new Mass Effect when that shows its face. So as much as we hate EA, the thing is they have some fantastic games and all of those reside under Origin. So if you're buying a Steam machine, you've cut off your EA connection straight away. Now problem 2 with this actual unit is even Steam itself doesn't fully support Linux. Now just going from the top 30 games on Steam as of the moment, 30 of those games are supported by Windows. 9 of those games are supported by Mac, but yet only 5 is supported by Linux. Yes, they do have a great feature if you purchase it on Windows via Steam. If you actually got a Linux box, it means you can actually get that for free because you've already purchased it. I think that system's great. But the point is, people are thinking they're going to be able to buy this actual unit and have Steam's catalogue, which isn't the case. You're actually going to get a very small, minute section of that catalogue that's Linux ready. Now, I know more and more devs are going to warm to Linux and start actually creating their games and porting it to Linux, but for me, it actually feels like it's a catch-22, also known as the Wii U. So with the Wii U, as we can see, not many third-party titles, and they will come when the unit sells, and the unit sells when the actual games come, so they're kind of stuck in the middle. Now I actually see the Steam machine very similar. People will go, yes, we're going to start making these Linux ports when the Steam machine gets big, because obviously there's going to be a demand for Linux games. But at the same time, I personally wouldn't purchase that unit until I actually saw more Linux games. So again, it's the same kind of thing. So before I get attacked and ripped to shreds by the actual PC Windows master race, I know there's actually going to be a couple of workarounds around this. Now first of all is brute force. Now yes, you can get some of these games into Linux by using emulators and different things, but they're not easy and they don't yield the best results. The second way is people have actually said is it's a PC, so therefore you can dual boot the operating system and install Windows. My problem is I don't want to purchase a Steam box and then also go out and purchase Windows operating system and pay for that and then install it because the costs are already mounting. So that brings us to the third option, which is you can actually stream your Windows Steam games from your Windows PC to your Steam box, which is absolutely great that they're doing that. But that means now that you have to own 2 PCs to do this, one with Windows and one to receive the Windows signal. So this brings me to the end then where I'm saying I don't know who this is for. Now if somebody's at home who actually plays nothing but console games going, I would like to actually jump on this Steam because Steam's amazing, then I'll simply say take your money and purchase a Windows operating system computer. Now if you want it nice and sexy so it fits onto your actual tele, you can get one that looks like that. And that means it'll actually work like a Windows operating system, so you can do multiple things on it, install lots of applications that are supported by Windows, as well as running the great system called Steam. And I actually think if anyone's actually just a actual Steam user and they've got a bit of spare cash lying around and they're thinking, shall I buy myself a Steam machine? I'd say no. If you've got spare cash to actually pick up, buy yourself a console, because don't get me wrong, 90% of the good games are there on Steam, but there is 10% of console-only gems that you can't get your hands on. So if you've got the spare cash and you're a gamer, treat yourself to actually seeing how the other half live and actually live the best of both worlds. So that only leaves the only people that can actually see to buy it is the actual hardcore PC gamers that like to tweak and tinker with the Linux operating system, dual booting, because don't get me wrong, a few years ago I used to be a massive tech head and I used to love prattling about with technology, but now I'm not particularly bothered, so there is that category of people that want to tinker. But I actually think that's a very small part of the market. So I'm just saying that not bashing PC gaming or Windows gaming or whatever you want to call it. I think the system's great. I just think the Steam machine, what's it for? So that's me pretty much done and dusted then until after Christmas. So that brings us to the question of the week, and that is, what do you hope Santa's going to bring you on Christmas Day? Now, normally I'd answer these questions, but I don't want to say what I hope Santa's going to bring me, because the thing is, if Joe's got it, then she'd be like, damn, he's guessed his present. And if she don't, she'd be like, crap, I didn't buy him that. Forgot all about it. So I don't want to say anything in particular, but I'd love to know what you're hoping Santa's going to bring you this year. So it's time for me to love and leave you. Hope you all have a great Christmas, spend time with your family and friends, and as always, thank you very much for watching, guys. Cheers, bye. And Zelda Hyrule Warriors, and Zelda Hyrule Warriors, and Zelda Hyrule Warriors, and Zelda Hyrule Warriors. Jesus, that's going to make a bleepers video.